Majo, John, Nad, and Juanito in the doorway of my tiny house in Acapulco, Mexico. I want to do a little, I think this is going to be a brief entry about doing crazy things. So I am incredibly accurate at throwing things these days. I astonish myself again and again by take a little cigarette butt and say, let's throw it in that ashtray over there. I probably won't do it this time, but I do it again and again and again. So I had my baseball cap on and I wanted to take it off. And I like to throw I like to throw my hats on top of each other, and I threw it over there. It missed. It went over and knocked down a plastic bottle. Everything went crazy. And I said, oh my God, I've created chaos. But I've done crazier things. Well, in Chicago, in the fall of 21, I was revisiting my hometown and parking my camper van in my old parking lot right along Loyola Beach, one of the only places in Chicago that you can live right on the beach. And I lived there. And there was a wonderful little hot dog stand that had been taken over by a guy who was doing like all kinds of gourmet food out of there. And it was a wonderful hangout. And one morning I was visiting with a young girl. She was a co-ed at my college. I don't think they use that term anymore. And when I was there in the 60s, we call them co-eds, but it's no longer shocking that girls are at college. But she was a freshman at Loyola University, and we were chatting, and she was Latina. This was one of my early brushes with how much I love Latina folks. And she was telling me about her life, and then there was that point where my family moved into kind of a tough neighborhood on the west side of Chicago, and it was really run by a gang. I said, well, how'd you handle that? How'd you manage to stay out of the gang? She says, I didn't. I jumped in. I did the gang life for some number of months, maybe a year. I don't remember how long. She says, I wasn't involved in any violence. I didn't have to kill anybody, but it was the only game in town. I was like 15. The gang was the thing. So okay, let's do that. Well, I thought she was so amazing. What a kid. And cute. And I said, well, you're in college here now, and I'm thinking to stay. At that point, I was so excited about being back in Chicago. I was thinking about staying there a year, which was a crazy notion, and I realized that at the end of November when it got cold. I said, so I'm a little older than you, but maybe we'll like each other. Let's see. We don't know. And her reply was, I've done crazier things. that was the best turn down I've had ever. I've done crazier things. So I've picked up that line and I use it a lot. I've done crazier things, and in the last few years I've done a lot of things that a lot of people think were crazy. But if it's coming from the inner voice, or what I call the voice for God, I just do it. I've done things that even in the process of doing them, I went, God, are you sure this isn't going to get me killed? And God has said, try it. It might not. Go for it. And so far it hasn't. So I recommend that line. I've done crazier things.